You think that's air you're breathing now?
We're going to explore some technologies that Toyota uses to maximize engine performance and economy and reduce emissions. First, we'll review the basics of how an engine works and some basic engine terminology. An internal combustion engine needs air and fuel to function. The more efficiently an engine breathes, the more efficiently it will produce power.
Do you believe that my being stronger or faster has anything to do with my muscles in this place? You think that's air you're breathing now?
Now we'll look at the basic components of an engine. The main components of the engine are the engine block and cylinder head. The internal components of an engine include cylinders, the crankshaft, connecting rods, pistons, spark plugs, fuel injectors, intake and exhaust valves, camshafts, and a timing chain or belt. Power is produced in the engine by the four-stroke process. As the piston moves on its first downward stroke, the intake valve opens to allow a mixture of air and fuel to fill the combustion chamber. This is called the intake stroke. Next, the intake valve closes and the piston moves on an upward stroke that compresses the air-fuel mixture. The compression of the air-fuel mixture will make it combust with greater force than if it were uncompressed. This is called the compression stroke. Third, the spark plug ignites the air-fuel mixture, causing it to burn explosively, which forces the piston into another downward stroke. This is called the power stroke. The fourth stroke is the exhaust stroke. As the piston begins its second upward stroke, the exhaust valve opens and the burned air-fuel mixture is forced out of the combustion chamber through the exhaust valves. Two terms you may be asked to explain to customers are the engine's compression ratio and displacement. Compression ratio is the ratio between the total volume of a combustion chamber and cylinder when the piston is at the bottom of its stroke and when the piston is at the top of its stroke. In this example, the compression ratio is 10:1. Higher compression ratios produce more power but require higher octane fuel than engines with lower compression ratios. Engine displacement is how the internal size of an engine is described. It's measured as the cylinder bore times the length of the piston stroke. This is multiplied by the total number of cylinders and is usually expressed in liters or cubic centimeters. For example, a 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine has a total displacement when adding together all four cylinders of 2.4 liters. Now let's look at technologies Toyota uses in its engines to enhance power output, fuel economy, and emissions control. The more efficiently an engine breathes, the more efficiently it will produce power. Toyota engines incorporate a number of features and components that are designed to help the engine breathe more efficiently. An acoustic control induction system, or ACIS, automatically varies the length of the runners in the intake manifold to maximize the airflow into the engine and to provide more usable power throughout the entire RPM range. At low speeds, ACIS directs intake airflow through a long intake runner in order to produce ample low-end power and torque. Think of this as taking deep breaths while lifting a heavy object. At high engine speeds, ACIS directs the air through a short intake runner in order to generate more horsepower. Think of this as taking quick, short breaths while running.
happened this morning here in Las Vegas, we started the car up and the transmission wouldn't shift. Checked a bunch of things on the transmission, and these transmissions are shifted with air, CO2. So
is 80% of the air we breathe is an explosive. It's called nitrogen. And this is what is running your vehicle. It's running your plane. It's running your boat. It's running everything. It's because we prime the nitrogen at a certain level. And I figure out how to prime it under a negative pressure so it's safe. So you don't prime it on positive pressure so you can create a disaster. You prime it on a negative pressure, inside the motor on a negative pressure, and it's totally safe. If there's any leaks from there, from the nitrogen, after it goes to a positive pressure, it neutralizes itself. And the nice thing about it is when you burn a nitrogen with a prime with high frequency, the final coming out of the exhaust is oxygen and CO2. That's it. Because you're not putting any carbon shit into it. Because your fuel you're putting in your tank gets out, it changes form, it gets out in carbon monoxide in the other end of the pipe. It's poison.